welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for watching us. This is a live show, so if we were a little stunned, we saw the cameras on. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. Look at that bright green shirt that he has tonight.
Vivid.
Wow, very great work on the new color person on the camera, Tessa. We got Chris Satter in the control room and Devin Shea, who does it all. So we're about ready to begin. We talk sports, as you know, and many other things with opinions and a few facts. You'll find that out later. You can watch us on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area, all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry and Wexford. So thanks for watching us there. We appreciate it. And in Bethel Park, only Comcast 7. We know you're all watching. Then I just found out some football friends of mine, Bill Russo, Rich DeMayo, Bruce Austin, they're watching our show just to keep an eye on me and you guys, what's going on. So I appreciate it. We had a little reunion, Smoking Jim, with our football team and coaches from back in the 70s.
I saw that on Facebook.
We had some fun at the saloon.
The band got back together.
And the stories were pretty good. They didn't really embellish any more than they used to. Everybody was great. So
everybody was a step faster, right?
Oh, it could be. I just wanted, before we go any further, Smoking Jim, since I brought that up, one of the fastest guys I ever know holds the record at Keystone Oaks.
White guy?
Yeah, I told you about him. Kevin Campbell.
Yeah.
100-yard dash, 10.1.
That's moving. That's flying low. That's flying low.
1973.
Wow. That's
or it was
flying
74.
Low. That was on those, that wasn't even on the rubber track. That was on that.
No, it was on our track, which had boulders on it.
Yeah.
Cinders. Yeah.
Cinders,
And it was
yeah.
uphill. They made him run uphill. No.
Both ways.
Shout out to Kevin Campbell if he watches the show. Still holds the record. And he told me a little known fact that I didn't even think about. He'll always have that record. Do you know why?
Because it's meters now.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
How about that?
Yes,
I said
sir.
that's a little fiction and fact from the Al Levine Almanac.
Yeah, got digging deep.
Definitely.
Digging deep.
And we're still at 5,105 likes on Facebook, so thank you for all the likes. Keep watching us, and we're going to start with what's on our mind right now. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got to see
Excellent
Levine.
hands in
And
2016.
my old quarterback option
Just hand it to
days.
Chip, please. Thanks, Chip.
And I tell you what's on my mind is, number one, just want to give my Super Bowl pick. Well, we may do that later in the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
save that. I'll save
You're
that.
in such a
I'll
hurry.
save that.
Tease
Yeah,
it, Jim,
tease that a
tease it.
little bit. But what's on my mind is actually a Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week. I think I got a good one this week. And almost had a co-player of the week. But
It's not surprising to me. That would be the first time in 2016.
But in the words of AWB, I was able to cut the cake and choose one. And I'm going to Ellis School. And female this week, Player of the Week, Pittsburgh Sportsline Player of the Week is Dana Ross. And she scored 56 points in one game.
Now, where's this school from?
It's over in Oakland.
Okay.
They're a WPIL school, and she actually scored 56 points. She averages 29.5 points a game. They're 15-1 on the season, and they played Armani Christian School. And you know, Armani Christian has my favorite player. She's only a freshman. Little white girl named Callie Konak. And in that same game, Callie scored 55 points, and she's still averaging over 44 points a game.
She didn't get the most points, and her team lost.
And her team lost, so I had to go with the Player of the Week, had to go with the winning team. And also, the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week, honorable mention had to go today to the Alderdice Dragons. At halftime, they were beating Perry Traditional Academy at halftime 53-2. 53-2.
And good karma is flying out
Went
there.
on to win 84 to 30 some points with all the backup players. But the Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week has to go with the Ellis School. They are 15-1 on the year, girls basketball team. And their athletic director is former Pitt star and former Gateway star, Shayla Scott. Congratulations, Shayla. We'll be giving you a call real soon to come to one of our locations on Monday.
Could she be one of our featured guests? I mean, only featured guests.
The whole school. We may bring the whole Ellis school. It's a private school, very expensive school. So we may have to bring the whole team in there, coaches and the athletic director, which is most important, Shayla Scott.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. Appreciate it. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. And with the sad passing of football season, after Sunday evening's game, there'll be no more football until April, when Jim will be giving us our draft updates and the future draft class that he will be grading out at a D- this spring.
Again, you caught on to him, didn't you?
But no, what's on my mind is, and I'm ready to deal with this for the next 9 months. And, it already starts, and, we've got baseball season right around the corner. 2 weeks from now, pitchers and catchers report to Bradenton, and a new Pirates season will begin. And a new Pirates team will take the field the beginning of April this year, and I'm very much looking forward to the new Pirates team this year. It's unfortunate some of our favorites from the last 2 or 3 years will no longer be with us. But, the one thing about professional sports is in constant state of flux. There is change, constant change. Players come and the players go. I was sorry to see Neil Walker go. I would have liked if he and the Pirates would have been able to figure out a way to work out some kind of an agreement. Wasn't going to work out. The Pirates did what they had to do, what was going to be in their best interest moving forward. But, Pedro Alvarez still doesn't have a job, and, his value goes down by the day. And then you've got Scott Boras, who is trying to blame the fact that Pedro couldn't play first base last year on the way the Pittsburgh Pirates positioned him. I think what Scott Boras needs to understand is Pedro Alvarez can't play first base because he didn't do what he needed to do to learn how to play that position in the field. He didn't show up for training camp early. They had a special instructor in to teach him how to play first base, and he didn't feel that he needed to spend any time with him, and his play showed. So I am very much looking forward to this Pirate team. I'm also looking very much forward to hearing the broken records continue to go on and on about how the Pirates don't spend enough money. And now that we're starting to, fill the seats, that they should spend more money. Well, I like the way the Pirates are running their organization. They're the only team one of 3 teams in the major leagues that have made the playoffs each of the last 3 years. They have got a team that is profitable and they are successful. And I believe they will continue to do both. And I'm very much looking forward to the upcoming season, but that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. I appreciate it. It's funny how Smoking Jim's quiet on baseball because he is an expert, renowned expert.
Don't you worry. He will be pushing my buttons for the next 9 months. I can guarantee you.
All right, well,
And I welcome it, Jim, because you're my friend.
on something we can all agree on. I don't know if you can get a close-up here. We got Tessa here, 2nd week in a row. One of our greatest rookies to ever come out of Bethel Park to work on a camera. Look at that. Wow. Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I just got this in the mail. Not only do I have their regular posters and flyers, but they're running some specials out there. They're at Hillcrest Shopping Center. Give them a call right now and tell them Pittsburgh Sports Line and Al Levine is saying call 412-831-1900. So give them a call. It's good. I think everybody here finished their piece and was looking for another one. Some had 2. And Smoking Jim, whoa, he got another piece of hoagie. Italian hoagies are wonderful.
And Tessa got her slice of pizza while it was hot.
There you go. And then I got another flyer. This is, you can get training at the EIC, the Energy Innovation Center. It used to be the old Conley School. 6 weeks of free training in the building trades. And they can look to book in jobs if you learn the trades.
I want to lay brick.
This is the place to go. Smoking Jim, I'll set up an appointment for you. No doubt about it. And thank you, Tessa, for getting that. It's a good thing. And that starts, let me see what day. It starts February 15th, Smoking Jim. So after your special date with all of your sweeties for Jimmy, you can start Monday morning at 8:30 to 4, and that's all it is. And I know you're hardly that busy on Monday except with 18 articles, 4 appearances on TV, 2 special shows that you do throughout the city, and calling a basketball game. All right, let's do this. Here's our promotion here. I have to announce Smoking Jim Frazier at Atria's finally got, can you pull that up? This is even hard for me to say, is a talking machine. There's a talking machine Big Mouth Burger. They're also having a happy hour special during the time we're out there, so come out early. They have specials there. And then, I got to read it so I don't make a mistake. It features Smokin' Jim's round mound of pot roast nachos. First ever named after Smokin' Jim Frazier.
I'm so honored.
He doesn't know what they are, but he plans on eating them. And they're delicious, he's found out. Chip, don't explain anything.
And Jim, understand one thing. This is not Colorado or Washington. That's not real pot.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that because he's never had a drink or smoked anything. You know, alcohol and adult beverages he has not had. He looks for ginger ale when we go to Atria's. We'll talk about that in that segment in Hollywood Lanes. What's on my mind is every year when I see an all-star game, there's one I watch. It's baseball.
Yes, sir.
Now, the other ones, we had 2 this past weekend.
We did?
That's what I said. Somebody brought it up to me, and I saw a couple write-ups on it, and they told me about 2 different teams. I don't really watch it because with the money these players get paid, the injuries are so important. In football, how do you hold back unless you run up the score and you don't really tackle? And then look at the NHL All-Star game. You know, there's usually no goaltending, but for some reason it was a 4-3 score. I didn't find out any details. So if anybody wants to let me know about that, please do. I'm just glad nobody got injured in these all-star games. They should do some benefit for somebody and maybe even who knows what else. Come up with something different. I'm open to ideas because I don't want to watch it.
Well, you know what, Alan, I couldn't agree with you more about the useless examples of what a sport is supposed to be. I mean, what was it, about 60% of the players that got elected to the Pro Bowl chose not to play in it, so there's no importance in playing in it. They ended up playing two-hand touch. Okay, so if you're going to do that, why should people have to fly all the way to Hawaii, which, you know, is not a cheap ticket?
Yeah.
They should have the game here in the States, and they shouldn't even charge anybody for it. You know, and they should just let it be a fan
Or have
fest
a fundraiser.
and have kids go out there and run on the field and chase after their heroes or something like that, and make it more fan friendly. Because I'm going to tell you something, it is the waste of 3 hours, and thank the Lord that I did not waste 3 hours of my life watching that on Sunday.
Well, we agree on that, but I would go to a fundraiser type of thing. Let people go in free, donate a certain amount of money. And since you have such a severe problem of concussions and not concussions, maybe fund something like that separately so you don't just have lawsuits. Well, that's one of my ideas. So thanks for watching us. Hope you continue. We're going to start with our segments right now. One of my favorites is Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, and this will be a very quick one.
Good, by
this
time.
week, and it's actually going to be part 1 of part 2 that'll continue next week. But I do have a good news. Got a phone call today from Alice Cannon, so I'll be on Alice Cannon's show with a couple former Super Bowl players.
Congratulations.
And talking about the Super Bowl on Thursday night on PCNC.
Nice.
So I just got that call, so I'm real excited
What time of the
about
evening? Do you know? Or they'll firm up the details
that.
later?
They tell me when I'm coming on, so I think that's 7:40. So I don't know what time the show. I imagine the show starts at 7 o'clock, but I guess they're to let me know 7:40.
One of the busiest men in local Pittsburgh media. He has a flex schedule. He's one of the few. Most people come in 2 hours early just to prepare.
Thank you. Oh yeah.
Oh,
I've been
sorry.
trying to learn. I've been trying to learn from Roger Houston, but hasn't been working out too well.
I noticed.
But I will be there Monday early. Also got a bodybuilder that I gotta send you to. That's going to be a guest. Guests are coming from all over. It's going to be a big show.
Okay.
Really big show. Really big show.
Really?
Really big shoe.
So
Ed Sullivan.
Fiction and fact from Smoking Jim Almanac goes all the way back before Tessa was born, 1994. 1994, I was down in Tennessee. Is a few weeks after the University of Tennessee had a freshman quarterback finally get into the start lineup about mid-season. I'm on the campus, and I don't know if University of Tennessee is still set up this way, but back in '94, the athletic facilities, the dining hall, the dormitories, everything for the athletes was inside the stadium. So they only left the stadium for, to go to classes.
I didn't go to classes.
And I go in there,
Like
and I see this 18-year-old, kind of thin, very white football player named Peyton Manning, and he had the biggest head I ever seen on a 6'5" thin frame, and he was in the locker room and just, I've never seen a kid have so much fun. He was slapping everybody in the hiney with the towels. And I tell you what, I know where concussions come from because he had wads of tape. And he'd pick you off in the head 20 yards away when you tried to run away. And
Is that what happened?
They had a lot of fun. Luckily, nobody got anything thrown at me. But Peyton Manning had a hard time keeping his towel around his waist that particular day. But anyhow, that's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Seen Peyton Manning when he was an 18-year-old freshman with one game starting experience he got. And now, years later, this could be his last game after the Super Bowl. Really looks like he's going to announce his retirement now that he can't take the human growth.
Well, he was taking stem cells, buddy.
Yeah, whatever it was doing, but the heat is on, so
Okay.
I think this will be
The
it
heat
for
is
Peyton
on
Manning.
and the truth will come out, right?
1994,
Yeah.
Peyton Manning. Who would ever known that
And
he'd
from
be...
such a reliable source like Al Jazeera.
Who would ever thought that Peyton Manning would end up being greater than his father, Archie Manning, who was an icon as far as, a great player. So
Understand that some people may not know that name. They just see the old guy up there that's his
yeah.
name. Tell them where he played.
So
He played at, matter of fact, you Pittsburgh Steelers fans are very, very lucky because if Archie Manning was born a year earlier, you never would have heard of a Terry Bradshaw. Archie Manning was the best player in college football in 1970. Just so happens that Terry Bradshaw was a senior and Archie was only a junior. And the Pittsburgh Steelers needed a quarterback, so they went to Louisiana Tech instead of Mississippi. Took Terry Bradshaw. The next year, Archie Griffin went to the New
Archie
Orleans.
Manning.
Archie
Manning.
Manning, same thing. You can't
One's
tell them
tall.
apart. You can't tell.
Yeah,
you tell me.
one-
You tell me. You put Archie Griffin here and Archie Manning right there. You can tell them apart. But,
I'm not playing that card. I'm not playing that card, Jim.
So Archie Manning, one of the greatest of all
I'm
time.
not taking the bait. Okay, hey, Jim, while we're on the subject of it, and
Say,
I
Mike.
just want your honest opinion, and if not, embellish it. But, I know that you and I both are in agreement that we feel that the Carolina Panthers are the better team and will ultimately end up winning the Super Bowl. But
I got
if
money on
Peyton
it.
Manning does not win this Super Bowl, does that tarnish his legacy as, quote unquote, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game?
Oh, heck no. Peyton Manning loses, never going to tarnish his legacy as the biggest choker in the history of all sports. He choked in college, he choked in high school, and only won one Super Bowl in the pros. He's the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. Nobody can deny that. Even the Super Bowl he won, he didn't play very well. The biggest choker of all time. No problem. I love you, Peyton.
Thanks, Chip, for. I was going to compliment Smoking Jim on giving us a bonus fiction and fact that actually had more facts than usual. He's been on a streak. I was waiting to see when that streak would end. You get an assist from Chip Hayner that somehow he pulled that deep thought out there about choking.
He took the bait.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't. He did.
You were too smooth for him. So we'll move on to now my second favorite feature. We got Chip's Trivia Time.
Oh, thank you, Alan. And, last week I talked about the top 10 Super Bowl winning teams, okay, and all in the history of the Super Bowl. Playing Super Bowl 50 this coming weekend, and it's time to reflect back now on the top 10 Super Bowl games of all time. And we'll start with number 10. I got my readers on right here, Jim. It's number 10 on the list. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh 27, Arizona 23. That was the game where Santonio Holmes, did he catch the ball?
Who?
Did he not catch the ball? In the end zone to win the game, James Harrison ran back an interception 100 yards. Kurt Warner performed well. Larry Fitzgerald played his heart out, but the Steelers ended up bringing home the win. That's number 10. Number 9, Super Bowl 34. The greatest show on turf. The St. Louis Rams beat the Tennessee Titans 23-16. And if anybody remembers the last play of the game, a player for the Titans was tackled 1 foot short of the goal line. A very exciting game. Number 9 on our list. Number 8, Super Bowl 38. The New England Patriots 32. The Carolina Panthers 29. Gostkowski, or was that Adam Vinatieri won the Super Bowl for the Patriots? Yeah, I think it was Vinatieri. Okay, number 7 on our list. Super Bowl 14. The Pittsburgh Steelers 31. The LA Rams 19. Terry Bradshaw's swan song in the Super Bowl. John Stallworth, I believe, was MVP. With 2 long catches for touchdowns.
Bradshaw got the MVP.
Okay, I stand corrected. Number 6 on the list, Super Bowl 23. The 49ers and Joe Montana on the final drive drove the ball the length of the field to beat the Cincinnati Bengals 20-16. Joe Montana, touchdown pass to John Taylor, and that wrapped that one up. Number 5 on our list, Bill Parcells, Super Bowl 25. The New York Giants 20. And Scott Norwood was wide right.
What a good career he had, except for that. It's amazing.
Okay, so now we get the number 4 on the list. The number 4 on the list was the first time in Super Bowl history that somebody guaranteed a victory. It was the very first time that the AFL beat the big brother NFL. Joe Namath and the New York Jets beat Don Shula's Baltimore Colts 16-7, Super Bowl 3. That was the number 4 on our list.
My uncle.
Number 3 on our list, we go to Super Bowl 49. Last year's Super Bowl, the New England Patriots 24, Seattle Seahawks 24, and Russell Wilson threw an interception on the last play of the game to hand the Patriots the Super Bowl, which they didn't deserve to be in. Number 2 on our list. I believe this is one of the greatest Super Bowls that I ever watched. Because after this game, the team that lost had an epiphany. And you know what their epiphany was? That 18-1 don't mean squat. And that was when the New York Giants beat the New England Patriots 17-14 in Super Bowl 42. The number 1 on our list of all-time Super Bowl games. Super Bowl 13, Pittsburgh Steelers 35, the Dallas Cowboys 31. And that was one of the most exciting football games that I ever watched. Played at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Hollywood Henderson was doing lines on the sideline. and the Steelers of the 70s showed who the better team was. So there we go. Those are the top 10 Super Bowl games of all time. And enjoy this week's. I hope it ranks.
We will see. We'll talk about that a little later. On location, we were at Hollywood Lanes last night. Had a great show. A lot of great guests, even some young guests. We had Gavin at 6 years old, Peyton at 9, and 10-year-old Julian. You might ask what they do. They had so much metal in there, we had to have a metal detector. They won awards like you can't believe with Taekwondo. Just great kids. And the connection is Skip Atkins not only shares everything, he's 81 years old on Facebook. He shares everything I have, even if it's personal. He just shares it, plus our shows. So his one son, Gavin, threw a half-court basketball into the net on a swish. So there'll be a video on the show showing that. These kids are great. They were a little shy because, talking to the talking machine, they figured they could let me talk, but I tried to have them talk, and they were great. Their parents were out. Their aunt seems to bring cookies and brownies that are some of the best around, and I said, I'm watching my weight. She said, just eat one. How can you eat one? So it was just a great venue at Hollywood Lanes. People were bowling. Matter of fact, the kids that were on the show were bowling, so I don't know how well they did. Other guests were there. We had Ida Simpson from Championship Chase. Thanks to her for coming on. We had Angelo Magnone. He gave us some tickets for the boxing. We'll have to bring that out. There's boxing on the 13th, and it's called, I don't know if you can get a close-up of this. This is going to be difficult. Check that out. I do have a few tickets, and it's about Cupid's Knockouts. He has a great card. If you remember the Handsome Hitman and other fighters, Matt Conway's there, the Sweet Child, he'll be fighting. And it's at Mountaineer Casino Ballroom, and that's the 13th. So check it out. And he was just a great guest there, first-time guest. We had a young lady that's friends, Cheryl Soros, with Bethany Montecalvo, and also one of Smokin' Jim's favorites, Sindel. They're good friends. She come out talking about sports and then having Graves' disease, where it was limiting how she could even participate in sports, and she overcame it. Her daughter came on the show, so we're still kid-friendly. We had a bunch of people there. Then we had the most prolific conversationist I know next to myself, Kenny O. The legendary Kenny O was there, photographer, boxing great, you name it. He actually stunned me. He didn't stump me, but I thought we were talking about world title boxing, and he threw me a curveball before baseball season started. He started bringing up a company, and he was in quite a role on it about they have something they put on asphalt so it lasts 50 to 60 years. I said, it will not be welcome in Pennsylvania because if they're not working on our roads and streets every year, this stuff will be declared illegal. But he's determined and said they're going to be building a plant up in New Kent. So we won't get into what Smokin' Jim said because he's sort of ignorant, but that's okay with that. So we just had a good time there. We'll be back first of every month there. Check out Jeffrey Park. Since we also have had dogs on our show, their guard dog, Bella the Poodle, was on our show. I'm in a couple photos with it. Jeffrey Park was there with an interview with her, and he told me on Facebook that was the first time Bella was on TV. So another Pittsburgh sports line first. Who would think we're doing that out in the community? And we had, close this out, Cindy Favis with the Joey Favis Cancer Foundation was on our show. Congratulations to DECA. They had a bingo on Sunday night, raised $1,300 with hardly any publicity. So that is just fantastic. This Thursday, the Lady Hawks with Jonna Burke and her team, the fantastic team, will be doing a fundraiser at the high school. So come on out to watch the JV. There'll be things they'll be selling to help fund the Joey Favis Cancer Foundation. So stay Joey strong. You'll hear me announce it at the end of each show. Stay Joey strong. But I wanted to do it now. Thanks for listening. Appreciate Bethel Park for all the things you're doing here and trying to help good people like we do. Now we're going to get into some sports. I can't wait for the Super Bowl picks. Let's just go right to it. You guys start, and I'll give you my pick. Jim?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you usually go last, but we wanted to put you out there first.
This isn't a championship chase.
Yeah, I'm looking for a blowout.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 62-10. I'm not a Cam Newton fan, most selfish player in the history of National Football League. Great, I love him on the field, but off the field, I tell you what, I'm still waiting for him to just mention one teammate that's not last name of Newton. But this is their year. But if you remember, I compared them to the 85 Bears. I think this is the best team that I've seen since the 85 Bears. And the 85 Bears only won one Super Bowl because Mike Ditka took all the endorsements and got rid of Buddy Ryan. And that team kind of divided a little bit. So you can have great have a great team, but not be a dynasty if you only win one Super Bowl. And I look for Carolina to be one and done. But on Sunday, I look for 62, maybe 62-10 Carolina.
What happened to Fitty? It's a new year. All right, just checking. Chip,
Well,
your thoughts?
And these are what my thoughts were about the game. And I was discussing this with my my dear friend Jim before the game. And you look at what Carolina has done in the playoffs, and they've rung up points like a pinball machine. You think about when they played the Seahawks. The Seahawks came off of one of the coldest games in NFL history. It was a nail biter right down to the final whistle. And then they played on Sunday, and then they had to play again the following weekend. But so they flew from Minnesota back west to Seattle, and then they had to fly back across the country. Here was a team that was exhausted, jet lagged, didn't show up for the first half, and they certainly did play better than even with the Panthers in the second half of that game. The unfortunate part was Panthers ran up a 31-point lead in the first half, which the Seahawks were unable to overcome. And then you look at what they did when they played the Arizona Cardinals. And the Arizona Cardinals probably came off of one of the most emotional playoff victories in the history of the NFL, playing the Packers the week before with the Hail Mary pass by Aaron Rodgers, and then subsequently the two big plays in overtime to win the game. And, playing the next game, it was somewhat of a letdown, and Carolina was playing at home. They were hot. That all being said, I do look like the Carolina Panthers to win this game. I don't think I'm going to see a blowout the way my friend Jim does. I think because of the two defenses, that this is going to be a lower scoring game. And if it does, if they can keep the score down, there is a possibility that Peyton Manning could pull a rabbit out of his hat. I think it's unlikely, but I like the Panthers winning 24-21.
Wow, a close one. What's the point spread that the NFL doesn't agree with all the time?
Well,
but
the point
Las
spread
Vegas
has
does?
fluctuated. It started out at 4 right after
Okay.
the championship games.
I got 4.
It went up to as high as 6 points.
Really?
When it hit
So the money
6,
come back.
when it hit 6, money started getting bet on Denver, and then it dropped back down to 5. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be 4.5 come game time. I think that would be.
Could have waited then.
Now, I'm not condoning gambling, nor am I saying Chip gambles, but Smoking Jim's a known gambler. And if you don't gamble now, don't start. That's my disclaimer. If you're doing it for fun, I understand that. Everybody likes to bet a Permani sandwich or something else, or some chicken with Smoking Jim. So I may get a whole house of chicken.
So and speaking, and I know we're talking about betting, and I know that we're going to get to your pick here in a minute, but I just thought it was kind of an irony that the Oakland Raiders
Las Vegas,
are
baby.
now discussing the possibility of moving to Las Vegas, and
Why not?
doesn't that seem curious that the league that wants to distance itself from betting, but yet lets the lines be published weekly based on their injury reports, and why else is there an injury report if it's not to affect the line one way or the other? It's interesting to see how that one's going to play out.
Well, my thing is, I'm a conspiracy guy. You can just start thinking about that, because a lot of games are strange and how they all end up around the point spread. A little above, a little below. But that's for you to research or criticize me on that. I don't mind. But I've watched it for so many years, I do believe in that. Maybe not every one, but it sure seems interesting. So we'll let that go. But I just got an announcement from Devin Shea. Cullen scored the first goal. Letang come out, just scored the second goal. We're a live show, so you're getting live updates. You don't have to change that dial. They're probably almost done with the first period anyhow. So it's 2-0 Penguins. Let's go Pens. It's a great year. Now for my pick. I'm not as optimistic as Smoking Jim with the 62. I just believe a lot of things when a quarterback is good and he's lucky also and has a lot of talent around him, teams just roll. Does Peyton have a chance? You can't count him out, but he has to be perfect. He cannot afford a mistake. What's going to happen is he's going to get intercepted a couple times.
Good point.
So I don't think the game will be 62. I'm thinking about maybe like 40, 45 to maybe 17, because I believe towards the end when they're behind, Peyton doesn't have the arm strength or the foot speed that he had before, nor can he plant his right foot as much as they say he could. So now that ball's going to float a little bit. Both defenses are great. Whoever gets the turnovers wins most of the games. I believe that Carolina will also get more of the turnovers and touchdowns from Cam and their team. And that's what I predict. 45-17.
About to change yours, Chip?
No, I'm actually I'm gonna make a statement about this, and I think the thing that's gonna be determinant in this game, if the Denver Broncos can play defense and hit Cam Newton the way they hit Tom Brady, I think it's going to be a different kind of game. And I'm saying this is and if,
We caught the ifs.
the Panthers only score 17 points, I look for the Broncos to win.
Whoa, if they keep them under 20, you think they'll lose?
I think they'll lose. But, I don't believe that they're going to score less than 20. I don't think they're going to run up points. That Denver defense, if you saw that 2 weeks ago, that's as good a defense as in the NFL right now.
There's no doubt that I'm assuming that you're going to have Carolina score some defensive touchdowns.
Well, here's
and that'll
the
make
thing,
a difference, as we know in games that we've been in.
For a quarterback as seasoned as Tom Brady is, okay, for him to be rattled by as many times as he got hit, I know Cam Newton's a big kid. He's a big dude, and he's strong. I wonder how he'll keep his composure if he keeps getting busted in the mouth.
Well, the difference is sorry to smoking Jim, but I'm fired up because he's more mobile. And at 6'3", 250 or 60 pounds, so those defensive backs, they can't take him down right away. So they need help.
They against the Patriots, it was the front seven that were putting the licks on Brady. So
But he can get past that front seven with a 3, 4, 5 yard run, and they're chasing him, and he's got some speed.
You know what?
I'm looking for an exciing game.
I just hope it's a game that will ultimately, at the end of the day, someday rank in the top 10. If it's a blowout, I can tell you what's going to happen. I'm not even going to stay to watch the commercials.
Really?
The thing that keeps me on watching the game is the game.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep you posted after halftime since you'll turn away. But just to answer your question, how they're going to do it, how would Cam do it when Brady didn't do it, is probably the same way Russell Wilson did it 2 weeks ago against them, 2 years ago against Denver, and that was a blowout that I predicted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just hope you get all your houses back.
I need this one.
This game, because you need it. A lot of people went with you, and they keep calling me up. What's your number? We won't give it out to them. So. Well, we got 20 minutes left. Whatever you guys want to discuss, I got my points out there.
Chip wants to talk about the Pro Bowl.
Is there anything more? Well, yeah, there is one thing more useless than media day at the Super Bowl, and that's the Pro Bowl. But why do they put microphones in these guys' faces? Oh my Lord! It's like all of a sudden, Cam Newton's the moral conscience of the United States. And he has to remind everybody he's an African American quarterback. You know what? You're the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. That's what you are. Yeah, no, we've never seen a quarterback that could run and pass before. Oh my, football's been around for 90 years, right? Never been a quarterback that could run and pass?
Over 100 now, Chip.
Please. Give me a break, Well,
there were a lot
play the game. If you win, then I'll listen to you run your cap.
Well, again, these are opinions, and football's been around a long time. Sure, there were a lot of prejudices out there, and people weren't allowed to play, and a lot of discrimination.
Terrell Pryor.
No, not him. He did his own thing, and he's getting exactly what he deserves. What's he playing, wide receiver now?
He's been blackballed
by himself.
No, and Jim, I told you this before, and you even agreed to me. I believe it's his work ethic that has kept him out of playing in the NFL. He's a very talented young man, but the talent gets you to the dance. What keeps you on the dance floor is your work ethic.
Chip, you make great points, but please censor this part because you're going to hear crickets from Smoking Jim Frazier. He's not going to talk about the kid that he's mentored. He mentored him to become the great player that he is.
Hall of Fame.
That's what's shocking about it.
Well,
So
he
he
did have
did
a
his
mentor
job.
named Charlie Batch that washed his hands of him before he left high school.
Yeah, but nobody's like my brother from another mother, Smoking Jim Frazier, the busiest man in Pittsburgh media. Smoking Jim. Hey, we usually don't announce who our guests are going to be, but Smoking Jim got a team that I've been trying for over a year. They've told me they would be on our show. They told me they knew us. They told me they'd like to be on it. And it took Smoking Jim Frazier, after I challenged him with Alderdice, that he's known him for 3-4 years, predicted they'd be #1 in the state. Could you please, and I say please, talk to some of these teams that you know. So not only did he get 1, he got 2. But I want him to announce it because I'm shocked that you're going to get this basketball team. The first one you told me.
I tell you what,
Not the high school.
went out to Green Tree, your old stomping grounds,
My home is across from the Parkway.
and I took a different Bella. I took Bella Lisa, and I tell you what, we got there a little late.
What a
and,
surprise.
What is that first?
But there was all the seats were taken, so we walked across the court all the way to the Steel City Yellow Jackets
Semi-pro basketball
on their
team?
side of the field. We sat on their bench, and
What, there are no other seats?
and everybody came down to talk to Bella Lisa and I. And after the game, I booked them for the show, and I had no idea you knew about them. And I tell you what,
Surprise, surprise, Smoking Jim. I
And
hate
them
to inform you of anything.
them guys play above the rim, and they're excited. Their ownership, their coaches, and their players are all excited to come out on Monday night.
Why were you late? You stopped to get some of that low-fat chicken?
No, he was getting Bella Lisa. Wait, listen to this. 1 more cup of green tea. That's what it had to be. You got to get the green tea. All right, so you got the semi-pro team is coming out.
Yes, sir.
For sure. That'll be
For
Atria
sure.
at 7:30. Don't miss that show. Now, here's where he surprised me. Now, you know he sends me a text. He always sends me a text with somebody's book. And I saw 2 words that I never see coming from him. Penn Hills. Tell us that team.
I tell you what, the top 3 girls basketball teams, I believe, in the area is Norwin, Fox Chapel, and Penn Hills girls. They got several Division I players. They got a Division I coach, former Division I coach. Big John Tate is their coach, and they'll be also
Is
in
John
the house.
Tate coming on? He's a Facebook friend of mine.
Yeah, John Tate will be there.
How is it that you're going to be in the same room with Penn Hills? Are you going to be wearing your colors?
Well, hey, this is the thing. These sacrifices I make for Al Levine, the talking machine. My brother from another mother.
Okay.
There's a lot of pressure. Then you told me you have somebody else. Can you announce that now? You said a bodybuilder, or we can't say that?
Yeah, we'll
wait.
Yeah,
Because I usually, here's why I don't put the guests out on a day like today, a week ahead of time. Because they're busy, they got kids, they actually work out. Like we could have had boxers on this past week with Angelo Magnone, but you know what they do? They're training for their fights.
Right. Yeah.
So they have to put the gym time in, the road work in. So that's how you win.
Yes, sir.
And I would
wanna
never
be
detract
successful.
from anybody there. That's why I'm honored each time we get somebody in MMA or boxing that'll come on a Monday show before their fights on a Friday or Saturday night.
Good point.
So we've had that happen. At least 8 or 9 guys have done that, and girls. So we do appreciate it. We respect the hard work. I was asking the kids, how they got to these belts. One of them has a black belt. Another one has a red and black.
My favorite colors.
Yeah, I know. And that was Shenley High School back in the day, too, so if you need to know that. But it's hard work. So we respect that no matter what age you are and what athlete you are, from 90 years old to 6 years old like last night. So that's it, Smoking Jim there. What are you doing this weekend? Anything besides the Super Bowl? Tell us what you're going to be doing with the Super Bowl. That's an honor. Ellis?
Oh, yeah, that'd be
It was so long
Thursday.
ago we talked about it.
Yeah,
No wonder you're always late.
yeah, Thursday
CTV.
with Alice,
No,
we'll be
beyond
talking
that.
about Super Bowl 50.
With who? Tell them who.
We got Alice Cannon, and we'll have a couple former Super Bowl champions will be in
There's
the
the
house.
tease.
None from the Steelers, but
How can that even be in Pittsburgh?
So
what a good guy
tune
Ellis
in.
Cannon is. So that'll be
Yeah,
awesome.
Tune in and check out also tomorrow on Steel City Sports World. We're going to have on that particular show, we'll have, other than Steel City Beauties, we'll have some of the top players assigned in Division One. And tomorrow's the National Letter of Intent Day. So all those guys that's signing Division One letters of intent will most of them be on the show.
You know I don't mind promoting any of the shows Smoking Jim's on and other people in our area, especially public access TV. Steel City Sports World's on once a month. They do a great job with Luther Dupree and what he's done for the last dozen years.
Over 100 shows.
Is that how many? Did you get that number? He didn't verify it. His numbers are unverifiable. But the one thing I do want to say about it is you can actually go online. And they've improved going on the computer. And you can watch a show from, what is it, 6 to 7 or 7 to 8?
6 to 7.
6 to 7 p.m.
Do I show up in living color or online?
Smoking Jim is just unbelievable. Yes, he texts. Yes, he looks at his phone. And then for some reason, they have more disclaimers about him than I could ever put out. And you know what? He deserves those disclaimers because when I hear him. But if you want to have an entertaining show, I say watch that show. Chip, you'll enjoy it. It's 1 hour.
I've been on it before.
No, I know, but I've only been in the side in the studio. Some reason they didn't want me on there, but I've actually been on a couple.
And Alan texts us back and forth throughout the whole show.
Yeah, like I usually say, I can't believe you said that. And it's a nice show, so check that out too. Because you may hear the same thing Smoking Jim was saying tonight. If you do, call in. They have call-in people there, and it seems like they have steady call-in guys. So it's just interesting. I wish we'd get a call-in. Oh, we don't even have the phone anymore. So, but we'll go from there. But good luck to you, Smoking Jim.
Thank
Tell
you,
them
sir.
where you're going to be on TV with Ellis Cannon, because we didn't say that.
We're going to be at
PCNs.
WPXI's facility, Channel 11, which PCNC is also.
Do you know what time that'll be on? Is it going to be live or is it?
Side?
I know I'll be on at 7:40.
Is it going to be taped or it'll be live?
Live.
No way.
Live, yeah. And
You
I
got
believe
the
you can call
original
it-
loose cannon with Ellis Cannon, Smoking Jim Frazier. I'm going to tune in even if I'm doing something.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm excited about it, and can't wait.
Another Penguin update. Devin Shea's unbelievable. It was 2-1. They were coming back on the Pens. Kunitz scores a goal. Kunitz. You know it. You've heard it over the years. 3-1.
Now that we've got the Penguins talking up, now the Penguins are in a dogfight in these last 34 games. They've got to play like there is no tomorrow if they plan on making the playoffs. They're in a battle with a lot of teams that are struggling
Everybody makes
and
it.
fighting it.
No,
now, the
only
Penguins,
8 in their
the
division.
Penguins have won their last 3 games prior to the All-Star break. And it seems like they're starting to find themselves. The team's getting healthy. They've been playing more consistently. And Marc-Andre Fleury has been playing very well. But, an interesting question that was posed today on one of the local sports talk radio shows is, with the way that Marc-Andre Fleury has played this year and the fact that his heir apparent is ready to start in the NHL, does that make Marc-Andre Fleury a tradable commodity to try to rebuild the team? Because right now we have nothing in the minors. The player of the winger of the future, Bo Bennett, can't seem to spend enough time off of the trainer's table.
Now it's more serious of an injury, upper body
and,
injury.
and I think it's at this point with Bo Bennett, it may be time for the Penguins to cut bait with him. But for what kind of value does he have? Because he plays 1, maybe 2 games, and then he has the next 15 or 20 where he's nursing an injury. I've never seen a more unlucky player in hockey in the history of the Penguins franchise. Well, maybe Michel Briere, but that would have that involved a fatality. But I mean, the guy's just he gets hurt in the most unusual ways. So the Penguins are playing better. I still don't see them as a team that's going to go anywhere in the playoffs. If they do make the playoffs, I see them to be an early exit. But they are playing much better. The next 34 games should tell us a lot.
Well, to answer your question, I would trade the heir apparent and keep Fleury. That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's your new resident hockey
Well,
expert.
you know, and
He doesn't know who the coach is yet, but I'll just tell him it's Sullivan. He's made a difference in some of the play.
And I want to tell Jim why that would not be so much of a good idea. You know, because Fleury is the one that's got any value. You look at what he's done and the way he's been playing. He's actually won a Stanley Cup. The Penguins have nobody to come up, and they've strapped themselves. They've handcuffed themselves with the salary cap that they can't do anything but bring up young kids from the minors. They can't really sign any free agents. They're going to have to get rid of some of that salary contract, to make room to sign any other players. And somebody has to go. I mean, they've got too much money and tied up into too few players, and that's not going to be the way they're ever going to win another cup.
They got rid of Yager. How'd that work out? You can't get rid of.
That was years ago, Smoking Jim.
Well, yeah, but they got rid of Yager, and they went to 2 Stanley Cups back to back without him. Won one of them. How many has Yager won since then? He hasn't won one since he's worn a Penguins
He just
jersey.
keeps rising up into the greatest players record books.
But he still hasn't got his name on a cup other than with the Pittsburgh Penguins, has he?
They would have had another cup with him. They would have lost that other one.
He had to stay, though. He didn't want to stay.
No, we should have won 3 in a row, but if it wasn't for him,
Yeah, he wasn't feeling it.
he's too busy in his strip clubs.
But I don't think that I still think the Penguins, long as they got Crosby and Malkin, they can do it. And you got to have Fleury. That's your big 3.
How about Letang? That makes the big 4.
That's another.
He just was 3rd star of the month in hockey. And I know you follow those awards all the time, so he was the 3rd star in the NHL.
I don't have the faith in the big 3 that you do, Jim. I just look at the record over the last 6 years, and the team has been getting progressively worse, not better.
Well, I'm a little bit hopeful because of Sullivan in here. He's using the players with the talent they have. Like their skills will come out when they go into the net and shoot the puck.
I agree.
And there's a huge difference. Thanks, Smoking Jim. I know he watches all the games. But Chip, you watch some of the games, a little more so now. But they do shoot the puck a little more on net. And now you guys, the guys that are watching, you get to see the dirty goals come there. And Smoking Jim, that means they're digging for the puck. So it's right there. They're digging it out of the ice, throwing it in there towards the net again. So that helps. So there has been a little change there. Will it be enough? They're in the 8th position right now. So
Tied for the 8th
right.
position.
So they need wins. That's what it's all about right now.
They need wins, and like I said, the next 34 games will show us something. They've got to show me a lot more than they've shown me already. Is the point I'm making? They're a team that there's no reason why they shouldn't be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Eastern Conference.
They got to prove it to you now.
Their arrow's pointing up, as Mike Tomlin would say. But
does he ever get back to the standard as the standard? Because I haven't heard that in a couple of years.
I got
Go ahead.
Question. Should Pittsburgh get another professional lacrosse team? I say, yeah, I love that sport.
Well, my only thing is he's only heard about lacrosse in Bethel Park with Tessa.
Within the last hour.
And he's one of the best brothers from another mother that I ever know for over 4 years. Feels like I know him 20 years.
Here's another question, and I've seen this question posed by a lot of different people a lot of different times over the last 2 or 3 decades. Do you think that the Pittsburgh sports market could support another professional team? And what I'm talking about is the NBA.
Here's why.
Yes.
I've heard some great points. Jessica Lee brought it up because she's a big basketball fan. Even though she's jazz and blues, she brought up the point that if you had an NBA team, not an ABA or whatever else you want to call it, that you might get some of the people with money to back it. Plus, you'd have the fans come out to see other NBA teams too. You may not have the best team starting out because you know how it goes, but with that interest, and that really started me thinking differently because I've been a basketball fan my whole life.
Sure. Your
And,
dad, coach,
yeah, referee,
and everything.
I saw some of the greatest athletes, and I mean athletes, not just basketball players, in Pittsburgh history. So I think there's already an interest there, but you'd have to see like a major league sport. They come out for it. Like your lacrosse idea is
Look at
good.
Pitt sells out. Pitt sells.
Yeah, but they're only putting about what 5,600 people, 6,000 people in a.
No, I think I think they might be at 12,000
Yeah,
or
about
something.
12,000.
Really?
Yeah, about 12,000.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, here's what my problem is. You know, like when they have the NCAA tournament here, they don't sell out the console for those.
I've been
games.
there. I know.
You know,
didn't know that.
for those
I didn't know
games,
that.
and you know, I personally, you know, think if you know that as expensive as NBA tickets are across the board, I don't know if the fan base has the wherewithal to get enough people in on a regular basis. Yes, I'd love to see another professional sports team here. It'd be great to see that happen.
The brothers will buy all the tickets.
No, they don't. You told me you won't buy another ticket except for the Gateway season ticket pass, which you've had forever.
And that's the Gateway Clipper.
He doesn't go out much in water, though. You have to watch. Well, I'm glad we got to cover a few different subjects. And though lacrosse is not his favorite sport, let me disclaim this. I have to, Smoking Jim. He's only as good and as popular with a sport to the last person that talks about a sport. So, Tessa, don't talk to him anymore. No rebuttal, Smoking Jim. Sorry, guys. He started off the new year trying to be an honest man, so I appreciate it. Smoking Jim, what do you think about the Pitt Panthers then? Since you're bringing up how they sell out, have you saw any of their games? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same way I've always thought of Pitt is they need to get rid of Jamie Dixon.
One of their greatest coaches.
One of their greatest winning percentage coaches that can never do anything in the playoffs, and he's taking a beating down in the ACC. And one of the reasons why they win is their schedule's so soft.
To speak to that point, you know, Pitt's season is going to determine whether or not it is a tournament-capable team with the next 6 games. The next 6 games that Pitt's going to be playing, they'll be playing some of the better teams. I believe they're going to be playing North Carolina, Louisville, Syracuse.
Isn't North Carolina like the second best team?
The North Carolina was ranked number 2. I believe they got beat last night by Louisville in Louisville. And so, you know, there's a lot of top teams that the Panthers are going to play. They don't really have a big win yet this year. They're 17-3, and they're not even ranked in the top 25. And that's because of the weakness of their schedule, which is their biggest drawback. You know, they could be a team that could win 22 or 23 games and not make the NCAA tournament this year.
Good point.
Because of the lack of strength of schedule.
Well, how about Dukes this year? For the Blue Devils are down. They lost 4 out of 5. They're out of the
Blue
top
Devils,
25
for the
in
first
8
time
years, right?
Since 2008.
Yeah.
Was the last time they got have fallen out of the top 25.
No, I understand. That's what was shocking to me. You see that
So,
teams
I mean,
do have
you know,
a little downturn.
by the end of the month, we're going to know what kind of a basketball team Pitt has, if they're going to be a tournament team, and you know, and if they are a tournament team, it's going to be the same old Jamie Dixon, one and done.
I'll shout out to a little bit of West Virginia. They're number 14. They did drop down after a loss. It seemed like they had a pretty nice team. I actually saw more of their games this year than Pitt.
They're playing number 13 Iowa State tonight.
One of the toughest games they'll have.
And Iowa State has beaten a lot of top-ranked teams.
No doubt. Well, I want to thank Tessa on camera, Chris Satter, Zach Anderson, Devin Shea for the updates, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip the Prophet Hayner. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thank you for watching us, and please stay Joey strong.